What's going on, everyone? The world's most important stock, Nvidia, finally reported earnings, and it was definitely a pretty crazy report. The stock is moving higher in after hours as of right now, as they announced a 10-for-1 stock split and some more pretty impressive growth on multiple different fronts. So in today's video, of course, we're going to analyze Nvidia, but we have a handful of other stocks moving in some pretty crazy ways. Looking at the market as a whole today, around 64% of stocks in the S&P 500 actually closed down in the red. So I thought that was pretty interesting, but we have a great video today and we have a whole lot to talk about. So Tom, let's not waste any time and let's jump right into it.
Yeah, Mike, Nvidia ended up being the star of the show, of course, and ended up popping in after hours up to new all-time highs, almost up to $1,000 per share, up to $997.74. So that's a big spot. If it can end up breaking out above 1,000 tomorrow, that would be pretty big, and it's trying to climb back again here in after hours. And guess what else? SPY actually ran up to retested the recent high and all-time high around 531.50. There's been multiple rejections around that level. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but everybody wants to hear about Nvidia's earnings, Mike, and boy, oh boy, they had some high expectations and they delivered. They reported a 262% jump in sales, and the revenue beat expectations by quite a bit. And Mike, like whenever you start to hear about some of the year-over-year numbers here, I think it's going to blow some people's minds, right? Their data center revenue rose by 427%. That is an insane number. Plus the sales at that 262% mark. That is huge, Mike. So whenever we start to see Nvidia and we're looking at the numbers here, just to see that these numbers are in like the 400% range is nuts. So looking at Nvidia, you know, they did very well, Mike, and I would say they definitely kept up with the hype here. Although I will say, like, if you traded some of the options, it could have gotten a little bit risky for you.
Yeah, we'll know tomorrow, but another thing that was pretty exciting is that they're going to be doing a 10-to-1 stock split. So that'll make the options for Nvidia much cheaper going forward. So that's a great thing for retail traders. And it could also add some more hype into the stock, as we've seen in the past with other stocks that split, like Tesla and just others over the past couple of years. We have that Chipotle stock split coming up soon as well. But either way, Nvidia is continuing to deliver. As you said, they are just posting some mind-blowing growth, and the stock is loving it. So keep Nvidia on close watch for tomorrow. Like Tom said, they are at all-time highs, so there's not really too much resistance you can look at going forward. But what that $1,000 level will be huge, and once you have a stock that is at all-time highs, it's kind of like no man's land for resistance. So 1,000 will be huge, but then also like 1,050, 1,100 and like $1,150, like those half and whole dollar marks do tend to be pretty strong resistance levels, but Nvidia is the stock to watch for right now.
It really is, Mike, and I'm going to even watch some of the other stocks out there too, but that $1,000 mark is definitely a big spot. Even if we go to Bookmap and we check it, $1,000 is huge overhead, so shout out to Bookmap for the X-ray vision. If you do have it, it does actually work in after hours if you have the DX feed plan and everything like that. So looking good here at that $1,000 mark, Mike. I'll definitely have my eyes on that one for tomorrow. I'm still going to watch like ARM, AMD, SMCI, and a lot of the other ones as well. They are popping up in after hours a little bit, but I will say it's not too much. And, you know, even Intel's up slightly in after hours. But then again, you know, I would say like most of the big tech stocks in the market are moving slightly. So hopefully this continues to bring that good, nice, bullish volatility, Mike. And I would love to see SPY finally get above that high for tomorrow. You know, we've been consolidating at this resistance all week long, and maybe we can get a nice end of the week here.
No doubt about that, but we can't forget about all of the action that has been going on with some of these solar stocks lately. So FSLR is one of them that really had some great momentum today. The stock blasted up by 19% on the day, but there were a handful of other ones too, like Enphase, which is ticker symbol ENPH, and then even SunPower, which is SPWR. There was There were multiple reasons to explain this move. One of the first ones being that there are some potential tariffs in the works on Chinese, you could say, solar cell imports. So that definitely helps some of the US-based solar companies. But on top of that, there were even some price target upgrades. And then SunPower is also adding the Tesla Powerwall 3 to its portfolio. But there was a bunch of news with these solar stocks. But basically, they had like a giant run-up back in 2020 and 2021. And ever since that point, they've just been slowly fading lower until today. And I guess you could say some of the solar stocks, like FSLR, has been moving in like a pretty good way over like the past couple weeks and months, but the momentum with these stocks has just been getting crazier and crazier. So keep these ones close on watch for tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think some of the popular ones like Enphase here, obviously FSLR is very popular too. I would say like Enphase might even match it in popularity, if not even beat it. It's actually been consolidating quite a bit here recently. It would be very nice to see Enphase start to get like a true breakout back up towards like that 140, like top of the recent range here. That would be an awesome area to come up and test over the next couple weeks. So I'll definitely be watching more of these solar stocks, Mike. That's really good to just have that much news coming in out of just multiple different areas, right? And I think that the Chinese tariff area, or that part of the news, is obviously, I think, the main one driving this. But it's really good to see these stocks moving again, and it's nuts when you go to FSLR's chart. I didn't even realize this, but it's nuts to see that they're at all-time highs by like that much. That is one hell of a run over the past couple days.
No doubt. And it's like when you look at stocks like FSLR or Enphase or Nvidia or just like any other stock that has true momentum, that doesn't mean you always have to trade it to the upside. Like if these stocks reject in a strong way off resistance, there's nothing wrong with, I guess you could say, fading that breakout, right? Like there's multiple ways to, trade momentum, I guess you could say, driven stocks, right? The main thing is that they tend to move in like explosive ways, which is where the opportunity comes in. But whether you're looking at Enphase, First Solar, Nvidia, or any other stock going into tomorrow, the most important thing is how you trade rather than what you trade. If you are trading in a way where you have no stop losses and you're over leveraging, it doesn't really matter how good the setup is, because if your risk management is not under control, then you can't really do anything else. But I just wanted to throw that in there because we do have a handful of stocks moving in some pretty crazy ways right now. And of course, there's a lot of opportunity associated with that, but you have to play it in a smart and strategic way. But another thing that we've been talking about so much lately is gold, silver, and like metals mining companies. And I saw some interesting charts today that has to do with gold reserves. So this first one is with China, and basically, as we could see over like the past couple of years, China has definitely been increasing their gold reserves, but it's getting at a quicker pace in the short term. So that could explain some of this recent bullishness we've been seeing in the gold market. But even if we look at like gold reserves on like a complete international scale, you can say, just countries all around the world have been increasing their gold reserves. So again, we've been talking about gold and silver quite a bit lately, but I just wanted to add this context to, because I do know a lot of people have been playing those in like a bullish way.
Yeah, they have, and I will say this, gold might not have had the best day today, and it has been pulling back a little bit, Mike, and we've been kind of worried about a pullback starting to happen a little bit, but it is very interesting just to see like how much China has been really increasing those gold reserves in other countries out there. I was looking at like some of the gold reserve leaders out there. It's very interesting to see, but I know that gold is very popular right now, Mike, as well as silver, and right now it is starting to pull back a little bit on the daily chart. This is one of the bigger red candles that we've seen in a little while. I'm definitely going to be watching this dip and waiting for like upcoming support, maybe around like 220 where we're at now, 218, and over the longer term here over the next couple weeks, maybe like 212 to 210. But it is cool to look at gold, Mike. It was, I will say, like, we've been waiting for a pullback, right? Like it's been coming at some point. We've been very overextended. So just expect a little bit of volatility in the short term.
No doubt about that. And another area of the market that has been moving in a pretty crazy way lately are the Chinese stocks. And they've been, really uptrending. But today they did pull back a little bit. But what's worth keeping in mind is that when you have stocks that are uptrending in a strong way, whether it be some of these Chinese stocks or whether it be gold stocks, or even if it is like a stock like Nvidia over like the past couple of years, like, it is normal, expected, and healthy to have pullbacks along the uptrend. There are some people out there who, when they're playing a stock to the upside, they almost trade in a way as if no pullbacks are expected. But I just wanted to bring this up because, pullbacks are, again, expected, but they're also a good sign. Because if you have a stock that, doesn't pull back at all, that might be more of a warning sign than anything else that when the tide does turn, it can get pretty nasty pretty quickly. So I just wanted to throw that in there too.
Yeah, and we've seen that happen a lot, Mike. Whenever we go back to some of these stocks that ran up during the COVID rally, like Tesla, even like Zoom and a couple of those others that just ran up way too quickly. Like, look at Zoom right there. That was one of the best uptrends I'd ever seen. There was very little pullback mixed in along the way, and then guess what happened? That hype eventually faded, right? And there's a lot of stocks right now that I'm very worried about that hype starting to fade with. Hopefully we don't see it happen soon. And, good thing Nvidia kept up with those earnings today because I didn't want today to mark the day that started. So it's really interesting, though, whenever you start to look at dynamics with pullbacks in the market, right? Because it's never truly just like a straight shot up, right? There's always those pullbacks mixed in along the way. And we recently just went through one with the SPY in April pulling back. That was a pretty healthy pullback there. And, we'll see more of that along the way here with some of these other stocks too.
You know it. All right, so Nvidia was definitely the star of the show for the week in terms of earnings, but what else is on the schedule?
Yeah, so tomorrow we do have Ralph Lauren, Mike, everybody's favorite clothing brand. No, I'm sure some people out there like him, but nonetheless, though, that's pretty much it. There is BJ's reporting tomorrow, maybe for like the retailers, but other than that, there's not really too much left for the week on that side of things. Looking at the economic calendar, we did have the FOMC minutes today. There were a couple headlines from that, but nothing too crazy. Tomorrow, we will get initial jobless claims at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, as well as a Bostic speech later in the day. And then Friday, there will be a Waller speech and Michigan consumer sentiment. So that's pretty much it for the rest of the week, Mike. And I think we're pretty set to just focus on the price action, which makes me pretty happy. The SPY's right at all-time highs. We have Nvidia pushing new highs too. So it could be pretty exciting if these breakouts do continue here.
Love to see it. All right, well, let's jump right into some setups and predictions for tomorrow. A stock I'm watching pretty closely is Enphase, and that is to the upside. As we already talked about this one a little bit today, basically the short-term price action has been great. There's some news behind it. It has strong relative volume, and the stock definitely made a statement today. So I'm going to continue to look at it in a bullish way for tomorrow. But what's more important than anything else is the price action. If this stock gaps down 3% tomorrow and is just selling off, there is no need to try and force a move up with it. On the other hand, if it starts to show strong, bullish, consistent price action when the market opens up and it puts continuous pressure on the highs, that can make for a much better setup. But either way, Enphase is on my radar.
Yeah, that was some great price action this morning, Mike. This is like the best example you could almost get on like very nice price action in the morning and just constant pressure on that high a day. And, of course, there were like very, very minor pullbacks mixed in, but for the most part, that was very straight up there today for Enphase. And with my first play, I'm actually looking at FSLR in a very similar way for tomorrow. So I'll be looking for FSLR to break above 255. That's going to be a very nice resistance level that I'm watching overhead. If we do get a breakout there, I will keep looking for more good momentum. Kind of like Mike said, though, there's just a lot of volatility with these stocks. If they do gap down, be a little careful, right? Like, we do want to see that nice upwards pressure early on. And I'm guessing that by how well the pressure's been over the past couple days, we might still see a lot more over the end of this week. So I'm definitely watching these into next week for sure.
All right, sounds good. Another stock I'm watching pretty closely is JP Morgan, and it is to the downside. It fell a little bit today, and I talked about this one in a bearish way in yesterday's video, but I can definitely see it falling more. There's a strong resistance level right at the $200 level, and it rejected off that today, and it has just had a pretty bearish week. So either way, I'm going to continue to watch this one to the downside, and in the same way with Enphase, price action is more important than anything else with this one. I want to see consistent weakness and pressure on that low of day, and obviously the more consistent the drop is, the better the setup becomes. If this stock opens up tomorrow and it gaps up a couple percent and it's putting pressure on the highs, there's no reason to try and force it down. But either way, JP Morgan is on my radar to the downside.
Yeah, that was a pretty good way that it broke above 200 and then rejected back down. It really failed to hold above there today, which shows a lot of weakness to me. So I'm with you, Mike. I'll definitely be watching this one to the downside over the next couple days as well. With my next play, I'm looking at Pfizer. Pfizer actually had an amazing day and in after hours. I can't believe it. They're almost like Nvidia or something here. But they're running up in a pretty good way. If they can break above $30.20 for tomorrow, I will go ahead and look at them up. I was going to watch $30, Mike, but looks like they already broke it. So I'm definitely going to be watching them for tomorrow, though. You can obviously see how much volatility that Pfizer's had over the past couple months. It's been really chopping around down here at the bottom, but when it goes on these runs, sometimes it really does start to continue. So I'm going to keep watching it for a continued breakout here tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. Well, let's jump right into today's momentum plays. And with the first one, we have Rivian to the upside.
Rivian, yeah, part of the EV stocks here. If it can break above 1075, I'll be looking for momentum to the upside.
All right, with the next one, we have Netflix, but to the downside.
Yeah, NFLX was actually pretty weak today. If they break under 638.50, then I will continue to look at downside pressure.
All right, and then with the last one, we have Meta for both directions.
META. So yeah, there's a lot of levels here on Meta the past couple days. If they can get under 465.50, then I will look at opportunities to the downside. But to the upside, if they break above 473.50, then I will look at it up. That was actually right at the high of day today. I've had that resistance plotted for a few days now.
Sounds good. So we have the upside level for a play to the upside, and we have the downside level for a play to the downside. That's for Meta. Don't forget about the downside opportunity with Netflix as well, and then the upside opportunity with Rivian. Either way, these three stocks are on watch for potential day trades tomorrow if and only if they break through the levels Tom listed. The stronger and more consistent the price action is, the better the setups become. If these stocks do not break the levels Tom listed, then do not feel the need to force these trades. Basically, it is better to take no trade rather than a bad trade, and it's better to have, a couple A-plus quality setups rather than 10 mediocre setups. So either way, keep these three stocks on watch for tomorrow. The stronger the price action, the better the setups become. But Tom, let's jump right into today's $320,000 big money trade of the day. And we are looking at ticker symbol FLEX. So this stock has been uptrending in a very strong way, not only over the past couple of months, but even for like the past couple of years. And the big money today put $320,000 into the 32 strike call options that expire on August 16th of 2024. These call options are slightly out of the money. They do have some time to them, and just due to like the strike price of this play, it's not necessarily like my favorite big money trade in the history of big money trades, but it does have potential given the strength of the uptrend. So either way, keep a close watch on this one. Again, it's not even like the biggest big money trade either, but the uptrend has been pretty strong.
Mike, this has been a very strong stock over the past couple of years. I can't believe some of the growth or some of the moves that we've seen out of some of these stocks here lately. And Flex is one that I actually have never even heard of before until today, but that was one hell of a move that they had up to those new highs, and to see them break out like that was awesome. So in the short term, I would not be surprised if they were longing these. The strike price is a little worrying at 32. It's about $1 away right now, or about 50 cents away out of the money. So I will be watching for that over the next couple days and couple weeks. But I think right now it just has so much momentum. It's just a true momentum play, right? Like it's breaking out to new highs, and if we continue seeing that, it should continue to have this nice strength here. The thing that I do like is the volume started picking up on the daily chart as well. So hopefully that keeps increasing here over the next couple days.
There we go. But going into tomorrow, by far, the most important stock to watch will be Nvidia. As I said in the intro, it seems like the world's most important stock at some points. But This stock has a very big direct influence on the market as a whole, but even more importantly, it has a giant influence on the sentiment in the market as you could just say in general. But keep a close eye on this one, and above anything else, let's trade in a smart, strategic way with long-term, sustainable trading habits. Stop losses and risk management are more important than anything else. Have stop losses, but also respect them, and make sure no matter what trade you ever enter, the sizing has to be reasonable. If you go all into a trade, it doesn't matter how good the setup is, because when you go that heavy, it just it puts you in a position to lose over the long term. So let's trade using smart, long-term oriented trading habits. And if you guys are new to the channel, consider demolishing that subscribe button to get our videos recommended to you more often. We post all the time. We cover charts you won't find anywhere else, and we cover basically everything you need to know about the stock market in like 20 to 25 minutes or less, most of the time at least. But before we close out, I want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Biased in the Profits channel. They've been in the Discord for quite some time now, and they've been asking some great questions, and they crushed it with FSLR today especially. So awesome work there, and keep on rolling. But besides that, thank you all so much for watching, and let's end this week on a green note.